Well, welcome back to the show, everybody. Seth Kamen, Sean Palmer, and I have a laundry basket in back of me, so I really prefer not to have that there. Nope. Oh, wait, I'll take it out. There we go. So, laundry basket in back of me. Seth's got his hat on. We are ready to roll for this midday edition of the Seth and Sean Sports Radio Show. Last week, we went through the NFL Hall of Fame trying to create what Deion Sanders calls the inner room. And I will tell you, Seth, it was a little bit more difficult than we thought it would be in trying to get those players having a week to think about it. And we'll get to today, we're going to do the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And I've had a week to think about it. And trust me, it's still not easy.
Yeah, but I thought the deal was you were not going to go through the Hall of Fame players.
I did not. I did not go through the Hall of Fame. Obviously, I am thinking about it as this goes on, right, throughout the week. Who's in the Hall of Fame, who's not. But I did not go through. I did not go on the website. I do not know all the Hall of Fame players. In fact, one just came up in my head where I was like, maybe that guy's in there. I will. So last week, Seth came up with 54 players, plus we'll put Darrell Rivas and Joe Thomas in. You said those were maybe, so let's say 56. So 56 players in your Hall of Fame. Thinking back on it a week, is there anybody you believe you missed or anybody that you had second questions about?
I actually haven't gone back. You wrote down the list that I had. I don't have it.
But we can go through these. So Sammy Baugh. So your quarterbacks, Sammy Baugh, Otto Graham, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, Johnny Unitas, Ernie Nevers, Jim Thorpe.
Ernie Nevers. Okay, wait a minute. Ernie Nevers and Jim Thorpe are not quarterbacks. They're running backs.
I think they were in the definition of the NFL Hall of Fame. They were quarterback / running backs. I think they were.
So but I don't hear Peyton Manning.
No, I said Manning, Montana. I had Manning.
I didn't hear that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Brady's not in yet. Mahomes is too early. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Well, but Brady could be in there, right? Okay, fair enough. So you have your running backs. You had where are the running backs here? I know you had them here. I just have these in different orders. So you had Walter Payton, Bronco Nagurski, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Gale Sayers.
Yeah, and then I was going to take one of the Marshall Faulk / LaDainian Tomlinson, kind of the multi-purpose back. And I probably should throw in Marion Motley as the best fullback of all time.
And that brings me to tight ends, where all you have is Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, I kind of agreed actually with what we discussed. I kind of want a better rounded tight end.
So I actually thought of a couple of players. First of all, we talked about Mike Ditka on the show last week, but maybe John Mackey.
That's where I was about to go with.
Okay. As far as your wideouts, you had Raymond Berry, Randy Moss, Don Hudson, Jerry Rice, and Elroy Hirsch.
Yeah, I think Calvin Johnson would probably be my next one. But I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay, so your offensive guards. No, tackles first. I think they were tackles and guards. Yep, they were just linemen. Larry Allen, John Hanna, Anthony Munoz, Jonathan Ogden, Art Shell, and you have Groza in here. I don't know why Groza is next for the kicker.
Lou Groza was an offensive lineman and a kicker.
Okay, well, and that's why. Okay. So you have 1, 2, and then I had said Walter Jones as a guy that I thought was in that group as well. Any changes, or are you good with what you got?
I'm good.
Okay. Your two centers are Jim Otto and Mike Webster.
Fine with that.
Moving on to the defense. Joe Green, the defensive lineman. Joe Green, Deacon Jones, Alan Page, Bruce Smith, Reggie White.
Fine with that.
Linebackers, Chuck Bedarnik, Dick Buckus, Sam
How about there's no defensive tackles?
No, that's who you had. Those were your defensive linemen, period.
I probably should have had – doesn't sound like there was any defensive tackles in there.
Well, Joe Green is a defensive tackle.
He was a defensive tackle? I thought he was a defensive end.
He was inside.
He was inside? Okay. I guess if I'm going to pull another
I mean, Aaron Donald will eventually be
Aaron
there.
Donald will be there. Yeah, that's a
Does
no
John
brainer.
Randall make
Also,
it?
JJ Watt kind of played around. I probably should have JJ Watt in there too.
Well, Watt hasn't made the Hall of Fame yet.
Right,
Either.
but we're saying Donald is the same thing.
Right, but does a John Randall go in there? Like if you're looking at, does a Strahan go in there? Like if
Strahan was outside.
Joe Klecko's not going to get there.
No, Klecko's not there.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like the dominant nose tackles. If we're looking at those dominant, I mean, if we're looking at the top 5 nose tackles, right? In hold on, I only have. Here we go. I mean, it's in Curly Culp,
No,
Bill Willis, Ted Washington. These guys aren't. These are run stuffers. I mean, Pat Williams, Vince Wilfork. I think Wilfork will eventually get into the Hall. Eventually, I don't think he's a first timer by any stretch. But I mean, these are run stuffers, right? When you have nose tackles, that's what they were. They're not rushers. So I wouldn't say any of those guys would be. If you're looking at defensive tackles, right, inside guys.
I agree.
I mean, eventually, maybe you put in Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh, maybe eventually.
Not at that level, no.
Okay. I mean, and that's where you are, right? I mean, those are your guys. If you look, Gil Brandt did this. Oh, Bob Lilly. Does Bob Lilly make it for you?
No.
Okay. Merlin Olsen, Randy White,
Merlin Olsen, maybe.
Warren Sapp. See, I have a hard time putting Warren Sapp in there because he should have been a Jet.
You got to get over it. So.
I should half of the players that had problems in the 1980s. when you have Jeff Lageman, Mike Hayton, Kyle Brady as 3 number ones.
And that's why you've been to 1 Super Bowl in 50 years.
That's right. Number 2 this year. Number 2.
That was predicted last night by Zach Ziskin.
It is not going to be predicted by me at all.
No.
Nope. Not at all. Okay. So your linebackers. So basically, unless it's Merlin Olsen, you don't have a defensive tackle. You are where you are.
Olsen.
You are where you are. Okay. You should bring up, by the way, on your website right now, the Baseball Hall of Fame, because I'm going to have to go.
I already have it up.
Oh, fantastic. So Bedarnik.
And I'm bringing up an Excel sheet so I can type all this.
Fantastic. So for the linebackers, Bedarnik, Butkus, Huff, Lewis, Nitschke, and LT.
Fine.
Your defensive linemen, defensive backfield, Chuck Adderley, Deion Sanders, Night Train Lane, Ronnie Lott, Abe Woodson. You said A, I said Rod. You could be Charles. Okay. And Mel Blount. And Darrell Revis. And your kicker is Lou Groza, and your contributors are Pete Rozelle, Al Davis, Lamar Hunt, Steve Sable, George Hallis, Sid Gilman, Jimmy Johnson. I think that's Fritz Pollard and Paul Brown. Okay.
Any massive changes?
I didn't have any. I think you were good.
I know you liked Simpson over Gale Sayers, which I completely understand.
I did. I think Eric Dickerson has his place. I'm not sure if that place
is. Dickerson is similar to me to a Sayers, where he played longer, but he had 5 or 6 amazing years, and then it went downhill quick.
Well, the funny thing is we're going to get into that with baseball the same way we do with the NFL. Are you looking at your prime, right? Can your prime be a small period of time, which was ridiculous? And we call that the Sandy Koufax syndrome, right? Which is 7 years. Or do you look at Nolan Ryan, where Nolan Ryan did for 25 years, and we all know my take on Nolan Ryan. I will tell you, I've done a lot of research into Nolan Ryan this week. because I wanted to make sure my views were accurate. And look, Nolan Ryan, let me set the record straight. Nolan Ryan was a great pitcher. He was.
Mm-hmm.
When Nolan Ryan was on. When
Yes.
Nolan Ryan wasn't on, he wasn't a great pitcher. And he was on just as much as he was off. That's my point. He has the most walks in history. His whip is insane because he struck out so many guys. But there were games where pitching was different, right? There were games where he went through 235 pitches in a game. Nolan Ryan was a machine.
Yes.
When it comes to pitching, he was Wilbur Wood and Phil Niekro wrapped into one. I mean, he was a machine. But that doesn't make him in my inner Hall of Fame, and it won't be. He will not.
I would be stunned if he was there.
Yeah, he was not there. So, all right.
All right. Are we ready for this?
So I did some thinking over the week. Okay, I won't lie to you. Okay, I didn't just put it away and say I wasn't going to think about it. I definitely thought about it. And I came up with 24 to 25 people, which is too small.
Agreed.
I came up with a too small Hall of Fame, which is shocking.
Because you're a big Hall of Fame guy.
Because I'm a big Hall of Fame guy. But I tried to put this in perspective. So let's roll through it. So I am sure there will be – what I'm going to do is, Seth, I'm going to give you my first take, and then we can go back and see who I missed. Because there's certainly – I have my guys – I have my initial thoughts without looking at the entirety of the Hall of Fame, but that's just based on just coming out blind. So let's go through it. So at catcher, it's Mike Piazza, Yogi Berra, and Johnny Bench. 3 guys. That's it. Okay. At first base, it's Pujols, Gehrig, and it's Jimmy Fox. And I'm sure I am missing somebody in first base because first base is a huge, huge pool of people.
Okay.
And Stan Musial will be in the outfield.
I figured as much.
I did not forget Stan the Man. Second base is 1. It's Joe Morgan. That's it. And no, I'm sorry, it's 2. I forgot the one last time too when I was going through it. It's Rogers Hornsby and Joe Morgan. That's it.
Okay.
And again, I am sure I am missing somebody. Shortstop is Honus Wagner, Robin Yount, and that's it.
Robin Yount made your top 25 players of all time.
He did. Robin Yount won. Robin Yount started at 18 years old. He has over 3,000 hits. He won an MVP both at shortstop and at center.
In the outfield. Top 25 players of all time?
Let's keep going.
Wow.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Third base is 2. Actually, it's part of what I was concerned about is do I put the steroid guys in, right? But we're talking about guys that are in the Hall of Fame, not guys that are potentially in the Hall of Fame, which is why you don't have J.J. Watt and you don't have Tom Brady.
Right.
You're not
This
in
is why you also don't have A-Rod in, I'm assuming.
Correct. So I have 2, George Brett and Mike Schmidt. And that's it.
Okay.
And I know on some of these I am skewing more towards the recent than I am towards the past. So I am sure I am forgetting people in the past. Okay. Outfield. The Babe. I don't think there's any question Babe Ruth should be in there. Ty Cobb. I am hesitant to put this guy in, but I know he has to be. It's Mickey Mantle. I am not a huge Mantle fan, but I believe when he played, he was the best. Ted Williams. Ken Griffey Jr. Stan Musial. Hank Aaron. Willie Mays. Can't believe I almost forgot Willie Mays. And that's it. And I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Yeah, we'll go through it.
Especially in the outfield. Okay, your pitching staff. I'm putting Koufax in. I'm putting Cy Young in. I'm putting Walter Johnson in. So Koufax, Young, Johnson, Steve Carlton, Tom Seaver, Randy Johnson, Mariano Rivera, that's what I got. And again, I'm sure I'm forgetting.
You have a 7-person pitching staff?
I have a 7-person pitching staff.
You would not fit in this generation.
No.
All right. Who's your manager?
All right. So Casey Stengel is in there. Oh, I'm sorry. I already forgot an outfielder. Frank Robinson. I was like, I knew when he went to managers, I was like, that's where he goes too. So here's my question to you. And I know there may be another manager. Oh, Connie Mack. Anybody that manages 50 years should be in a Hall of Fame.
I'm assuming he would not be for he's not pulling the Gale Sayers. You're not doing him for the breath of his 6
I'm
years.
doing the anti-Gale Sayers. He's the Don Sutton of this team. Yeah. Do you put Jackie Robinson in here? And based on, I think you would. Based on his play, Jackie Robinson does not belong here. I don't believe he matches up with Morgan or Hornsby on the second base side, and on the third base side, Brett or Schmidt. I don't think he's there. But I've always said that Jackie Robinson is the most influential player of all time. Not because of who he was and the fact that he was able to do what he did. Because if he fails, as we all know,
this goes to hell in a handbasket.
This goes to hell in a handbasket. And not only does it go to hell in a handbasket for baseball, but it goes to hell in a handbasket for basketball and for football and
for society as a whole.
So I'll put Jackie Robinson.
He'll be utility.
Yeah, that's a good place to put him. Can I put Ben Zobrist in there too as a utility player? But
you could.
No, I am not. So that's who I got. So on my first, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 7 pitchers, 1 reliever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 9 outfielders, 3 catchers, 3 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 shorts, 2 thirds, 2 managers. So 9, 16, 17, 20, 23, 25, 27, 29. I got 31 players in my Hall of Fame. It is a small Hall of Fame.
It is.
So who'd I forget? So let's
go through the one that stuns me is Yount. That stuns me.
I know.
He would even be a consideration for me.
And and when I had this discussion with a friend of mine, he brought up Ripken.
I wouldn't have Ripken there either.
And I argued Yount over Ripken. And I would argue Yount was a better player than Ripken.
I agree. I don't have a problem with that.
And
I don't think Ripken, if you live in the Baltimore DC metropolitan area, Ripken is a god.
Yes.
If you don't, Ripken was a really good player who had an incredible streak.
Yes.
Would you take Ripken over Jeter?
No,
I wouldn't, and I wouldn't have Jeter in this either. So
no, and Jeter was one that was an automatic no for me.
Yeah, I don't think Jeter is there either.
Look, I looked at all, and Piazza was hard for me. I got to tell you,
I wouldn't have Piazza.
I'm not sure I would have him in that. Like he was a maybe, but I didn't have a better catcher, and I was trying to find a better catcher.
The three that throw me are Piazza. I think there's 4 where I would probably question.
Okay.
Just 2 positions. I don't think I would have a third player. I don't think I would have Piazza.
Okay.
I don't think I would have Jimmy Fox.
Okay.
I Definitely would not have Robin Yount.
By the way, I have another player that needs to be in here, and that's Mel Ott.
Okay, I wouldn't have Mel Ott.
Mel Ott retired with the second most home runs of all time.
512, I know.
Yeah.
And I'm iffy on Brett.
I was iffy on Brett too. I was.
The only reason I may go Brett is because I'm not sure there's a second, third baseman I really like if you can't use A-Rod. It's probably Brett or Trainer. So
I will tell you, when I went through this exercise in my head, what I really didn't want to do was take guys from the past and make them huge, right? Because I've never seen them. So I got to tell you, I had a hard time with Cy Young.
Yeah, I get it. Well, here's okay. Well, we'll get through. Let's start going through this.
Yeah.
So, start with catcher. I have no issue with Bearer or bench. My third would probably be Roy Campanella.
Okay, and three MVPs gets you there.
Yeah, right? He does. Okay, so here are the.
Okay, so I'll put Campy in. You're right. You're absolutely right. And this is where I need this, right? This is where this goes back and forth.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. We're actually probably dropping Campanella.
Why?
You'll see why in about 30 seconds. Okay.
You can have as many catchers as you want. You could have as many.
Okay. We'll get.
This is an upper echelon Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we're forgetting something. So
if you're forgetting Gary Carter, he doesn't make it.
You think I'm forgetting Gary Carter?
You
think I even thought about Gary Carter?
Doesn't make it for me.
Who?
Ivan Rodriguez does not make it.
No, you know me better than that.
All right, so who am I forgetting?
Let's go through the list.
Yep.
Bench, Berra, Rogers, Brashanahan, and Roy Campanella.
Brashanahan is 3.
Gary Carter, Mickey Cochran, Bill Dickey, Buck Ewing.
Cochran is on the outside looking in.
As is Dickey, but neither of them jumped those 3.
Right.
Rick Farrell, Carlton Fisk, Josh Gibson, Gabby Hartnett.
Okay, Josh Gibson's in.
There you go.
And Carlton Fisk is close. He's not. He's
not at that level.
No, he's not. Josh, and this is going to be a problem that you didn't have in the NFL.
Right. The Negro Leagues is difficult.
You're just not going to have it because you don't have. Look, we could put Satchel Paige in here too.
Sure.
I mean, right? And you just reminded me, and he may come in because of that. And it comes down again to influence versus play on the field, right? Satchel Paige had a huge influence on baseball beyond what he did on the field. So the question is, does that count? Josh Gibson never played in the major leagues. So how are we judging the 801 supposed home runs that he hit? Again, this is why I love these conversations, because it really is subjective. It is, what do you feel? You being the listener, you being Seth or myself, what do you feel is worthy of your upper echelon Hall of Fame? And quite frankly, I never thought I'd have 5 catchers in there. And now I have 5. So, and I understand Piazza may be a homer. I get it. I'm entitled to it.
That's okay. Look, if you were doing a top 10 catchers of all time, he's certainly there. He's a borderline top 5.
Yeah.
So I don't have a huge issue with it. Just to finish out, just because there's this may be the best name in the Hall of Fame. Ernie Lombardi, Biz Mackey.
I have no idea who he is.
He's more than just a friend.
Are you sure? I was about to say, you sure that's just not a glitch?
Nope. Biz Mackey, class of 2006.
What?
Cool Papa Bell. As much as I admired Campy and Gibson, Biz Mackey was the best catcher I ever saw.
Wow.
He played from the 1920s to the late 1940s as a member of teams like the Hilldale Giants, the Philadelphia Stars, the Newark Eagles, the Indianapolis ABCs, and the Baltimore/Washington Elite Giants.
You know what's funny? Even your dad didn't see him.
Nope. That was before my dad.
We can't. And ladies and gentlemen, I love Seth's dad. This was not a hit on his dad. We just always talk about his dad saw these guys and we didn't. So we take what Marty says.
Okay. So
first base.
Mackey, okay, just in my Campanella, in my opinion, Biz Mackey was the master of defenses of all catchers. When I was a kid in Philly, I saw Mackey and Cochran in their primes. I don't think Cochran was the master of defense that Mackey was.
Well, that makes sense. Look, and Cochran won an MVP, I believe, in 1931. So there is that. He went from the A's to the Tigers. He was part of that A's sell-off by Connie Mack. Great player, not in the upper. And this is where I'm going to have a hard time because I didn't see Cy Young play either, and I'm putting him in there, right? That's just based on numbers, and baseball is more about numbers than any other sport that you'll find, by far.
Here we go. First baseman. If you're doing Pujols and Garrett and Pujols are 1-2.
Yep.
3. If you're going a third, you're fine with Fox. I don't think I would have had him in there, but I don't have a huge issue with.
Oh, George Sisler.
There's a few we can talk about. We'll get to them.
So go ahead.
Cap Anson, Jeff Bagwell, Jake Beckley, Jim Bottomley.
Okay, so Cap Anson was probably the best player of the early 1900s.
Yes.
Cap Anson was one of the biggest racists
on the face,
and he does not get in just based on that.
Fair enough. But you wanted O.J. Simpson, who was found for double murder.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Thank you.
It's a very good point. Okay.
All right.
Bottomley has the all-time record for most RBIs in a game, I believe.
Yeah, he had something like that.
He had like 12 RBIs in a doubleheader or something along those lines.
Yeah, but he's not going to.
He's not. He did hit 400 one year. Okay, and as much as Jeff Bagwell was my favorite player, him and Biggio were my two favorite players. Even as a Mets fan, neither one of them is making this.
Nope. Okay, Dan Brothers, Orlando Cepeda, Frank Chance, and Roger Connor. I don't know Roger Connor.
But Roger Connor was the home run leader all time before Babe Ruth.
Oh,
Babe Ruth did it in 1 year. Roger Connor. So Roger Connor played in the 1900s to 1920s for, I believe it was the Rhode Island team at some point. Yes, Rhode Island had a team. Cepeda, good player, and actually won an MVP and won the Rookie of the Year, but not there. And you'll get to Willie McCovey soon, who the two match up very well together. I believe they both actually had close. McCovey had 521 home runs. I believe Cepeda had 469. But the fact is, neither one of them is in this.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Ed Connor, actually. He actually retired before 1900.
Oh, okay.
So
you missed it.
Yep. Okay. Going back. Hold on. Okay.
What other first baseman we got?
Yeah, I'm going down there right now. You have to jump back and then jump in again. Here we go. Okay. Also, Frank Chance is the famous Tinkers to Evers to Chance.
Correct.
In the 20s. Jimmy Fox, Lou Gehrig, Hank Greenberg, Gil Hodges.
So Hodges and Greenberg had one great year, 58 home runs.
Yep.
Look, he's a member of the tribe. He will forever be remembered as a member of the tribe.
Him and Koufax pretty much started the Tribal Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but he's not making it.
Now Hodges was also the manager of the great '69 Mets, yep. But Hodges is not an all-timer.
Nope. He's an all-timer to every Brooklyn Dodger fan, by the way.
There you go. George Kelly, Harmon Killebrew, Buck Leonard, Willie McCovey.
So you can make the case for Buck Leonard being Buck Leonard. I'm not making the case of his play on the field. In fact, Buck Leonard was a great spokesman for the Negro League Baseball, but was not a great player on the field. McCovey was power or nothing. He was the equivalent of Mark McGwire today.
Yeah,
in that's what he did. And the first two, I'm sorry, I missed the first.
George King Kong Kelly.
George, another guy that I never saw.
19 years from the teens.
Can't talk about it.
Okay. I think he was part of the first $100,000 infield, if I remember correctly.
No,
I could be wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Fred McGriff, Johnny Mize, Eddie Murray, Tony Perez. To me, Eddie Murray's by far the best of that group,
Yep.
and
Eddie Murray,
he would be a fair debate with Fox.
oh no. No. I don't see that. I don't see that. Fox was a dominant player in his era, and Eddie Murray and Tony Perez were very similar. I don't see Eddie Murray as ever being a dominant player. He may not
3,000 hits, 500 homers.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't accumulate them, but remember, he may not have been the best player on his own team.
That is true. Okay.
But neither could Fox had Al Simmons and a couple other players too. By the way, I forgot a pitcher who I'm adding now. Okay, go
ahead. Let's see here.
This is fun because as you go through them, I'm adding people because
George Sisler, Mule Suttles. That one I don't know. That's from the Negro Leagues. Ben Taylor, Bill Terry, Frank Thomas, Jim Thome.
Okay, so Thomas and Thome are absolute no's. Thomas, part of the reason for Thomas is I won't include a DH.
Which he was a lot of his career.
Right. If he had stayed as a first baseman, Frank Thomas's first 10 years in baseball were the equivalent of Albert Pujols.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
So, but I will include Sisler because Sisler was the king early on, batted .424. Yeah. Bill Terry batted the last National League baseball player to hit 400, but not even the best player on his New York Giants.
Was Bill Terry the last person to hit 400?
National League.
No, I know, 1930, 31, something like that.
And the last one in the American League was Ted Williams.
Well, Williams the National League. Okay, Williams was the most. He had 406 and 41.
Right. Yep.
And then he lost the
MVP.
He lost the MVP to DiMaggio.
Yep. Who I do not have on my list and will not have on my list.
Are you jealous because he was married to Marilyn Monroe?
No, not one bit.
Okay. Second base. Roberto Alomar, Craig Biggio, Rod Carew, Eddie Collins.
Carew is an interesting person. Carew is an underrated player.
He is.
388 in 1977 or 78.
I think 78, yeah.
Played with the Twins on those American League championship teams in the early 70s. I think he started with the Indians, actually. You know what? I'm putting Carew on.
Over Roberto Alomar?
Yes. Oh, definitely over Roberto Alomar. Definitely over Roberto Alomar.
Over Eddie Collins. Again, not too far back.
Too far back.
Okay.
Yeah, too far back.
Okay. Bobby Dorr, Johnny Evers, Nellie Fox, Frankie Frisch.
Bobby Dorr gets in because Bobby Dorr was in the 1940s, 50s, 60s Red Sox. He's not a to me, he's in the lower echelon. He
got in because he was the most beloved player of his era, supposedly.
Right. He's the Harold Baineses of the Hall of Fame, which we'll get to Bill Mazeroski. Well, we're going to get to Bill Mazeroski too. I mean, both these guys are in the lower echelons of the Hall of Fame with Rick Ferrell. I'm sorry, who were the other guys you were saying?
Johnny Evers, Nellie Fox, Frankie Frisch.
So Fox is in that same point where he gets in because he's beloved. Frisch was a great second baseman on those Giants teams with Bill Terry, but does not make that team. He's, again, the first guy you said, who I can't remember.
Johnny Evers.
Johnny Evers is Tinker's Evers to Chance.
Yep.
He's the only reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
Charlie Gehringer, Joe Gordon, Billy Herman, Rogers Hornsby.
Well, I got two of those guys in. I got Morgan and Hornsby.
Oh, okay. I didn't say Morgan. I said Gordon.
Oh, Gordon. Well, Gordon shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
No, he's on the lower end.
So I got Hornsby.
Billy Herman's probably on the lower end too. Gehringer's a solid Hall of Famer.
Gehringer's a solid Hall of Famer. Yep. But you have to. I think you either have to be a top 10 all time at your position, or you better be the best player on your team in order to make this. And Gehringer wasn't the best player on his team.
No, he had Ty Cobb, who's a top 10 all-time player.
No, he had Hank Greenberg. Gehringer was in the 30s.
No, Gehringer, I think he played with Cobb too.
He might have. Okay, either way, he wasn't the best player on his team. Okay.
Well, I'm actually looking at this. Played from 1924 to 1942.
So he played with both.
He played with both of them.
So we were both right. Look at that.
There we go. Okay.
Shortstops.
Hold on. No, I'm not done with second baseman yet.
Oh, okay.
All right. Come on. Load. See if it loaded. Son of a bitch. Because we're going to have to start moving a little bit quicker here. So,
Yeah, I know. That's why.
okay. All right. Napa Joy, Tony Lazzari, Bill Mazeroski, Bid McPhee. I thought Napa Joy was a center fielder.
LaJoy
I think
makes
it's your
it.
speaker. Excuse me.
LaJoy makes it, as the speaker.
Makes what? The Hall of Fame or?
It's my hall. LaJoy and speaker. Okay, go on.
Okay. Mazeroski's on the way end, I'm assuming.
Nope.
Did you say Lazzari made it or no?
Lazzari definitely does not make it.
Okay. Joe
Lazzari-
Morgan,
Lazzari-
Jackie Robinson, Ryan Sandberg, Red Schoendienst.
No.
Morgan's in, Robinson's in from as utility. Sandberg and Schoendienst are not making.
Nope.
Okay, third base.
Okay.
Home run Baker, Wade Boggs, George Brett, Jimmy Collins.
Okay. I got Brett. I'm good.
Yep. I don't think anyone else is making it. We'll speed through this a little bit. Although this is an interesting one for me. Ray Dandridge, Judy Johnson, Chipper Jones, George Kell. Are we sure we have Brett over Chipper Jones?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And yes. No. Was Chipper Jones – look, Chipper Jones won an MVP, I believe. He won one, right?
He won two, but he may have been 1-1. Okay.
I think he batted 364 one year. Was Chipper Jones ever, to me, and granted, I never viewed Chipper Jones as the best player in baseball.
Best player in baseball or best player at his position in baseball?
Either.
Very different. I think you can easily make the argument at third base. Well, no, he had A-Rod.
Right.
A-Rod's a better player than 99% of these guys.
Hold on. But was George Brett the best player in baseball in 1980?
For 1 year, yeah. For 1 year, yeah.
Right,
and you could make the argument with Schmidt because Schmidt had 48 home runs that year.
No, that was that an 80 or 81 that he had?
It was an 80. 81 was strike year.
Okay.
Freddie Lindstrom, Eddie Matthews, Paul Molitor, Brooks Robinson.
Eddie Matthews was not the best player in his own team, so I can't put him in.
Hank Aaron. Fair.
Okay.
Scott Rowland, Ron Santo, Mike Schmidt, Pie Trainer.
Well, we got Schmidt in. Pie Trainer under our guys. Honus Wagner is the best player, but Honus Wagner is the top 10 of all time.
Yeah, I was going to say you can, based on that argument, Lou Gehrig can't make the team.
Right. I said you have to be the best player in your team, or that player has to be in the top 10 of all time.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm sticking with what I got.
Okay. Shortstop.
Yep.
Louis Aparicio, Luke Appling, Dave Bancroft, Ernie Banks.
Banks.
Agreed. I would have Banks over Yount.
I would have Banks over Yount too.
Okay.
But I still have Yount. So,
Lou Boudreau, Joe Cronin, George Davis, Travis Jackson.
None of those guys. Zero.
Huey Jennings, Derek Jeter, Barry Larkin, Pop Lloyd.
None of those guys. Not even close.
Rabbit Marinoville, Pee Wee Reese, Cal Ripken, Phil Rizzuto.
None of those guys. Not even close.
Joe Sewell, Ozzie Smith, Joe Tinkers, Alan Trammell.
So you can make the case that Ozzie should be in here. I won't, but you could. And my take is, here's why I'm not putting him in. Because Alan Trammell was just as good. He's not going to be in here either. So no.
I was going to say, if you're going to make the Ozzie Smith argument, then the Brooks Robinson argument comes into play too.
Agreed. And I won't make either one.
Okay. Archie Vaughan, Honus Wagner, Bobby Wallace, John Ward.
Well, we got Wagner in. And I think it's interesting to see as we go through these, how many are guys we didn't see, right? So we never saw Josh Gibson, Roy Campanella, Yogi Berra, George Sisler, Lou Gehrig. I have Jim Fox, Rogers Hornsby, Nap LaJoy, Honus Wagner, Ernie Banks. I mean, we have a good amount of players, and
baseball. Baseball is one of the few sports where the past really there's a much more of an appreciation of the past, honestly, in baseball than probably in other sports. Because Also, the popularity, it was the most popular sport, and that popularity has lapsed.
But it's
So-
also, but Seth, it's also numbers based, right?
Yes.
So if you look at a home run today is the same as a home run yesterday. It's a 1-to-1. When you look at the way that points in the NBA are calculated, you say, okay, how many points would Pete Maravich have with a 3-point line,
Yep, I got it.
right? The game's different.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going. Out left field, they separate outfield. I'm not going to do that. I mean, let's see if I can just do outfield. Nope, they only let me do left field.
Let's do left field.
Lou Brock, Jesse Burkett, Fred Clark, Ed Delaney.
None of the above.
Nope.
Delaney
Although Delaney was a hell of a player.
Delaney hit 400 and died at 29.
And died in a drowning accident, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yep.
Goose Gosselin, Chick Hafey. This is one I thought you would consider having Ricky. And Monty
Oh,
Irvin.
yes. Sorry. Ricky's in.
If Ricky says Ricky's in, then Ricky's in.
I will tell you, I'm surprised I didn't write it down, but I certainly said it the other day. I think Ricky may be, this is a really, really hot take. Ricky may be the best all-around player in baseball history. Him and Willie Mays.
I wouldn't put him above Willie. I wouldn't put him above Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds. I wouldn't have him above Hank Aaron.
Okay.
Okay.
For what Ricky did,
Ricky was amazing.
I mean, like I said, all-around player. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, but he wasn't a great defensive player.
No, that's true. Okay.
Joe Kelly, Ralph Kiner, Heine Manouche, and Joe Medwick. None of them.
No, but Jaime Manouche gets one of the best names in baseball history.
Minnie Minoso, Stan Musial, Jim O'Rourke, and Tim Raines. We got Stan the Man.
Okay.
Jim Rice, Al Simmons, Willie Stargell, Zach Wheat.
So none of those guys get in.
Billy Williams, Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski.
So we know Ted is in.
Yep.
I don't think any of the other
Yastrzemski's not even close.
No, he played so many years.
He had one great year and a lot of good years.
So he was Don Sutton.
Yeah. Okay, center field. Ricky Ashburn, Earl Averill, Cool Papa Bell, Willard Brown.
So
now here's where we start to talk about the Negro Leagues again, because Cool Papa Bell probably belongs there.
Well, and going back to left field, does Minnie Minoso belong there too? As a Cuban?
No, Minnie Minoso, I don't think was as dominant.
Okay, so we'll put Papa Bell in. Okay. Go back to the centers. Yep.
I'm in centers right now. Hold on. Max Carey, Oscar Charleston's another one. Ty Cobb, Earl Combs.
Charleston and Ty Cobb. Okay. We're already going to beat my number.
Joe DiMaggio, Larry Doby, Hugh Duffy, Ken Griffey. Is there an issue for DiMaggio over Mantle?
There may be.
I probably would. But because Mantle's last 6 years.
I think both of them are overrated players.
They could very well be. Mantle had 6 or 7 great years. DiMaggio
won triple crowns.
He won 1 Triple Crown.
2.
Mantle? 1. 56.
Sure?
Yes.
Oh, Williams won 2. Sorry. Mantle retired as the, second leading home run hitter in baseball history? 536?
Something like that. I mean, who knows? He retired in 68. Mays may have had more. Robinson may have had more at that point. Aaron may have had more at that point.
No, Aaron definitely didn't have more.
Aaron, remember, they were current. He wasn't retired.
Right.
Killebrew had more. Fox had more.
Killebrew retired at 573. I'm not sure Killebrew had more.
Well, you just said, but Mantle had
536, but he retired earlier than Killebrew. That's what I'm saying. When Mantle retired, Killebrew played into the 70s.
Okay. All right, let's keep going. Billy Hamilton, Pete Hill, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays.
Hold on. Billy Hamilton.
Pete Hill, I don't know. Never heard of.
Okay.
Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays.
We're going to put Mantle and Mays in.
Yeah, I have them already on your list. Puckett, Ed Roush, Duke Snyder, Tris Speaker. Okay.
It's funny. You're going to get this. It's hard for me to say no to any of the first Hall of Famers, right? I mean, Cy Young, Babe Ruth,
Yeah.
Chris Speaker, Honus Wagner, and Ty Cobb. Yes.
Here's another great name, Turkey Stearns.
I know Turkey Stearns. He played with the Browns. Okay.
Cristobal Torriente.
I don't know who that is.
Lloyd Wayner, Hack Wilson.
So Small Wayner and Big Wayner, neither one. Big Poison, Small Poison, neither one make it.
Not
Hack
even
Wilson
close.
had one great year.
One great year. One famously great year. Okay, right field.
Babe Ruth.
Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Sam Crawford, Kiki Kyler.
So Aaron and Clemente.
Do you have Clemente in?
I do.
Okay, you didn't give me that one before.
I know. Okay.
Dawson, Flick, Vlad Guerrero, Tony Gwynn.
None.
Harry Heilman, Harry Hooper, Reggie Jackson, Al Caline. None. You're not. I don't think you're considering Caline.
I was considering him for a second, but no.
Yeah, very good player, definite Hall of Famer, not upper. Willie Keeler, King Kelly, Chuck Klein, Tommy McCarthy.
So Willie Keeler deserves consideration, but I don't know enough about him to put him in this. So
fair.
Okay.
Tony Oliva, Mel Ott, Sam Rice, Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson. We're going to keep Ott off. So we're going to put Frank Robinson in.
Okay.
Ott still is consideration. I have to think about that. Okay.
I'm taking him off for now.
Yep.
Babe Ruth, Enos Slaughter, Sam Thompson, Larry Walker.
Just Ruth.
Paul Wayner, Dave Winfield, Ross Youngs.
None of the three. Okay. Would you put Winfield in there?
No.
Okay. All right. Pitching.
Hold on. Designated hitter.
None.
Harold Baines, Edgar Martinez, David Ortiz.
None. It does not matter. We got 13 minutes. None.
Okay.
Pitching's going to be a good amount.
Okay. Grover Cleveland Alexander, Charles Bender, Burt Blyleven, Three Finger Brown.
Hold on. So Grover Cleveland. What were the other? Cleveland's in. Who's the other ones?
Charles Bender, who's Chief Bender.
Nope.
Burt Blyleven.
Nope.
Mordecai Brown.
Nope. Love Blyleven, but not going to be there.
No, not even close. I think the other two were actually closer than Blyleven.
Yes, much closer, but love Blyleven.
Blyleven was your project to get in. Once he got in.
And then Tim Raines became my project to get in. Now I need a new project.
You need a new project. Ray Brown, Jim Bunning, Steve Carlton, Jack Chesbrough.
Carlton.
Who would you rather have had, Carlton or Seaver?
Seaver. No, Carlton, because Carlton was a lefty.
Fair.
Who was a better pitcher? Seaver. Who would I rather have for one game? Carlton.
John Clarkson, Andy Cooper, Stan Kovaleski, Leon Day.
None of those guys.
I don't know enough about them, to be honest.
Leon Day is a Negro leaguer.
Yes, he is. As is Andy Cooper. Dizzy Dean, Martin DeHigo, Don Drysdale, Dennis Eckersley. Do you touch Eckersley as the second best reliever of all time?
If you touch Eckersley, you're touching John Smoltz. You have to. They're the same.
Eckersley revolutionized the position. Smoltz didn't.
Eckersley didn't win a Cy Young, and John Smoltz did. As a starter, not even as a reliever. I'm going to leave. I'll put Eck on the outside right now. Okay.
Red Favor, Bob Feller, Raleigh Fingers, Whitey Ford.
No, none of those guys.
Feller's probably the closest of the four.
238 wins doesn't get you in here.
I got you. Bill Foster, Pud Galvin, Bob Gibson, Tom Glavine.
I have a Bob Gibson's in.
Just if I'm starting one pitcher for one game ever,
well,
he's in the top three.
Well, I tell you something else. Who's telling Bob Gibson he's not in? Because I'm not.
Lefty Gomez, Goose Gossage, Burley Grams, and Lefty Grove.
Lefty Grove. That was the guy that I was thinking about before that I forgot. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Jesse Haynes, Roy Halladay, Trevor Hoffman, Wade Hoyt.
None of the above.
Carl Hubble, Catfish Hunter, Fergie Jenkins, Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson and Hubble.
You're
putting in Hubble?
I am putting in Hubble.
Really?
He
Why?
may be on the outside looking in, but right now.
No, he had one great All-Star game. I don't think he's there.
All right, you're probably right. All right. So we're
Walter
taking.
Johnson, Addie Jose,
Okay.
Jim Cott, Tim Keefe.
Just Johnson. Johnson and Johnson.
There you go.
A lefty and a righty. I'd have a great staff.
Here's the other one I thought you missed. Sandy Koufax, Bob Lemon, Ted Lyons, Greg Maddux. He won 4 Cy Youngs in a row.
Well, I'm well aware of how much Greg Maddux destroyed my teams over and over again. We'll put Maddux in.
You're going to end up around 50, which is fine.
And Koufax.
Okay. Juan Martial, Rube Marquardt, Pedro Martinez, Christy Mathewson.
So if you're putting in Maddux, are you putting in Pedro?
Probably.
Yeah.
Are you touching Christy Mathewson?
Yes. And the problem is here, my pitching staff is huge. It's going to be too big. I'm going to have to narrowly tailor this one.
I don't know how you narrow it down.
I'm going to
have 12. That's about right.
We're not done yet, though.
We're going to be pretty close. Joe McGinnity, Jose Mendez, your personal favorite, Jack Morris, and Mike Mussina.
By the way, I have a hard time keeping Marichal out. I'm not going to put him in, but I have a hard.
He's a half level below all the other guys, but I get it.
I don't think he gets the recognition that he should. I think
he doesn't because he's overshadowed by Gibson, and the other pitchers in that kind of late 60s, early 70s. Hal Newhouser, Kid Nichols, Phil Niekro, Satchel Paige.
Satchel.
Jim Palmer, Herb Pennick, Gaylord Petty, Eddie Plank.
None of those.
Eddie Plank's the best of the
Plank
four.
Plank gets close. Plank has 317 wins. He gets close.
Yep. Old Haas, Radbourne, Mariano Rivera, Epo Rixey, Robin Roberts.
So I put in Rivera.
Yeah, you have no choice on that one.
Oh, I have a choice. For the same reason I don't like DHs. I have a choice.
But he was...
I know. I know.
Bullet, Rogan, Red Ruffing, Amos Russi, Nolan Ryan.
None of the above.
Tom Seaver, Hilton Smith, Lee Smith, John Smoltz.
Seaver and Smoltz is on the thought process list.
Warren Spahn, Bruce Sutter, Don Sutton, Dazzy Vance. Does Spahn make it?
Who's the third one?
Don Sutton, your personal favorite.
No, Spahn gets it.
Okay. Rube Waddle, Ed Walsh, Mickey Welsh, Wilhelm, none of them are really close, I don't think.
Nope.
Joe Williams, Vic Willis, Early Wynn, Cy Young.
Cy Young.
Yep.
You got to put the guy who made the award. I mean, there's no way you can keep him out.
Are we putting any umpires in or no?
No, I'm not putting any umpires in.
Okay. Managers.
Stengel.
Stengel, Walter Alston, Sparky Anderson, Bobby Cox, Leo DeRocher.
So I'm going to put in Alston. No, I'm not going to put in Alston. I'm just sorry. What? Bobby Cox. Well,
Leo DeRocher.
No, none of those.
Ned Hanlon, Bucky Harris, Whitey Herzog, Miller Huggins.
These are like next to impossible, but I'm not going to put any of those guys in either. I think I only got 2 guys. I think I said them before, right? Casey Stengel and Connie Mack.
Yeah. Tony La Russa, Tommy Lasorda, Al Lopez, Connie Mack, Joe McCarthy, John McGraw, Bill McKenzie, Wilbert Robinson.
Okay, we're putting in John McGraw. We're putting in Wilbert Robinson.
Putting in Wilbert Robinson?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was the manager in the early 1900s. And the question is, do we put in Joe McCarthy too? But I'm going to keep him out for right now.
Frank Selly, Billy Southworth, Casey Stengel, Joe Torre, Earl Weaver, Dick Williams.
Nope.
Okay. Last position, executive. You got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Ed Barrow, Morgan Buckley, Alexander Cartwright, Henry Chadwick.
Cartwright goes in. Abner Doubleday does not.
Happy Chandler, Charles Comiskey, Candy Cummings, Barney Dreyfus.
Nope.
Rube Foster, Bud Fowler, Ford Frick, Warren Giles.
Rube Foster goes in. He goes in for a couple of reasons. He was a great pitcher, and also he basically ran the Negro Leagues for years.
Okay. Pat Gillick, Frank Grant, Clark Griffin, Will Harridge.
Nope. Keep going.
That's all I got.
All right. I don't know how many I
5, 9, 13, 16, 18, 22, 28, 32, 43, 44, 45, 49, 51.
That was pretty good. But that doesn't include Eck or Smoltz, right? Nope. Okay. So maybe 53. But
yeah, but who's counting?
That was a pretty good. I like the list. Now, here's the thing. We can't do basketball because you already know where you cut off at 50. You've listed your top 75 of all time. Getting to 50 is easy. I'll just cut it at 50.
You want to do hockey?
I think we should do hockey. I'm not sure when we would do it. Next week, I'm pretty booked for the entire week. So we have to figure out maybe a Friday show.
That should be fine.
I'll be in.
And then we also have to do college football preview, which should
right. That's what I was saying. Maybe we should do the college football preview next week.
Are we going to even do a college football preview this year? Or we should talk about that. There's no Pac-10 anymore.
Oh, we have to do that, right?
Okay, so we do college football, fantasy football, pro football. Back to back to back.
Yep. But you're on vacation 1 week, so we got to figure out a time. So
that's all right. I'll have access. All
right.
So how did you enjoy your first week of fantasy Premier League?
Well, Harry Kane, not really sure how I did there.
You beat, I think you were in 7th out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Or 7th out of 10. So I did a fantasy Premier League. Sean decided he wanted to join me in here. So now you're allowed, I believe, 1 transfer per week.
I should have already done that, shouldn't I?
No, you have 3 days. It's fine.
I have to.
So I'm in 5th. You are in 11th out of 13.
Okay, great. I got room to make it up.
You do.
I got lots.
And you can drop Harry Kane and pick up someone at $12.50, 12, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So no money in this league, and then we have to start coming up with our strategy soon for
fantasy
season
football.
13, season 14.
Yep. Season 13 or 14. All right. I got to run. For Seth Kamens, I'm Sean Palmer. Next week, we will talk college football and whatever is going on because none of us really know.
Have a good one, everybody.
Have a great week.